What's the matter with the stock of Henry Schein? The company is the largest distributor of dental and veterinary products on earth, also has a big vaccine business. But just when it seemed like Henry Schein had gotten its groove back after being pummeled in the second half of last year, the stock got crushed today, down nearly $10 or 5.3% in the wake of the company's earnings report this very morning. Now, Henry Schein actually delivered a solid quarter with the company posting a modest top and bottom line beat. However, what we really care about is the forecast, and Henry Schein's full-year earnings guidance weaker than expected. I think that's why the stock got hit today. So we need to ask ourselves, was this a one-time blip, or do we need to be worried about the company's trajectory? On the one hand, we know that dentistry is on the rise worldwide thanks to the growth of the global middle class. Plus, animal health is on fire. That represents more than a quarter of Henry Schein's business. But even after today's decline, the stock is up nearly 15% for 2017, which means there's very little margin for error. So let's dig deeper with Stanley Bergman. He's the chairman and CEO of Henry Schein. To learn more about the quarter and his company's prospects, Mr. Bergman, welcome back to Mad Money. Good to see you, Stanley. Have a seat.
See you, Jim.
Thank you so much for coming on. All right, first, before we get started, CEO Magazine named you the 2017 CEO Man of the Year. Not an easy thing to get. I saw some of the people who judged and some of the people who have gotten it, so congratulations.
Thank you, Jim.
Now, when you get something like that, what do they, I mean, is it just long-term how much you've done for Henry Schein?
Well, at the end of the day, Jim, you know, it's really teamwork that makes the dream work. We have an outstanding team.
Excellent. Now, when I went through the quarter, there was, in the conference call, it was a really solid quarter. But in the conference call, you talked about how, you know what, business isn't as strong as you're necessarily used to. However, periods like this do happen. Are we just in a kind of a lull right now?
Well, I think, Jim, I think our business is solid. The markets that we serve are solid. You know, we had overall sales growth of 6.5%, right. Dental 8%, medical 6%, vet 4%, U.S. vet 6%. And I just think we have constant growth, somewhere on the internal growth basis of 4 to 6%. That's pretty solid, I think, for any company in this day and age. And we're very comfortable with the business. The markets are growing. You noted that in your introduction.
Well, I mean, good, because Danaher, their dental business, these are all partners. You work with all these guys. Danaher said the dental business, really not what they wanted. Dentsply Sirona, a little surprising. And I'm wondering whether you mentioned that the drilling and filling is slowing, and the good oral care means good health care. Do you think people are taking care of their teeth better and therefore not having as much drilling?
No, I don't think it's that. Firstly, the middle class, as you know, is growing throughout the world.
Right, so that's spending a good customer base.
More money on dental, animal health, even going to see the doctor. I don't think the drilling and filling is as big, but areas such as dental implants, specialty products such as orthodontics and endodontics are growing. So overall, the market in the U.S. is, in terms of units, relatively flat. It's growing by a little bit of inflation. And generally, the markets throughout the world are on a positive trend. That's in dentistry. And likewise, animal health is a little bit more on fire.
So if some of these suppliers that you're partnering with aren't doing that well, that's just, it's just by comparison, it can come back. It's not something that's like going like this.
No, not at all. I think these partners in the long run are doing okay if you take into account consumables and equipment. The dental equipment market is doing very, very well as that market digitalizes.
Well, one of the reasons I talk about this is because I remember, I'm old enough, sadly, to remember the Sullivan deal and the Dentrix deal.
That's pretty good.
I'm old, I remember these. And I'm wondering whether there's more M&A coming in this business after a real lull in that whole area.
Yeah, I mean, Jim, we put somewhere between $200 and $300 million of capital to work in M&A each year, sometimes a little bit more, but rarely below those numbers. And we expect to continue to add more businesses to our platform. So we also, as I said earlier on, are comfortable with organic growth of somewhere between 4 and 6%, which is, you know,
much better than what most people are offering.
2 times plus the GDP growth.
Well, I want to talk about technology for a second, and not just the great technology I see here. But earlier last week, I had IDEX Labs on, and I talked about their software. But you guys are a dominant player in that business.
Yes, we are the largest provider, Jim, of dental software. That's software to dentists in private practice, but also to dental schools and large practices. And likewise, on the animal health side, Just over half of the veterinary practices in the United States, for example, have our software, and I think that will be the case in a number of other markets around the world.
What has Align Technologies done for the whole dental business? Because this selfie generation, everybody seems to want, even if you have braces, they want you to go back and have Align.
Well, Align is a typical example of the digitalization of an industry, and they have digitalized in a very successful way the orthodontic space.
Right.
Just like Sirona, for example, and others have digitalized the prosthetic, the impression and the manufacturing of the prosthetics chairside, and also in the laboratory.
And that's all good for Henry
That's all
Schein.
great, and that market is on fire. The whole, anything to do with digital, imaging, prosthetics, is advancing in a very rapid way.
Well, then what that tells me is the stock had been a horse. I got to tell you, Stanley, every day I came out here and said, wow, that is the one I'm so glad I recommended. These are the declines that you use to buy the stock of Henry Schein. That's Stanley Bergman, Chairman, CEO of Henry Schein. Once again, congratulations, CEO Man of the Year. I know how hard it is to get.
You.
Stay with Cramer. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.